Go ahead.
Good morning, Facebook Live and Joslyn fans. I'm Rebecca, the program director at the Joslyn Center. Today is our Friday field trip, so we are out and about in Palm Springs at Moorten Botanical Gardens, and this is Clark Moorten. So, Clark, tell us about your property.
Well, great. Well, it's a really interesting garden. This is a family affair. Started by my parents with a lot of help from their son,
Sure.
and we've actually been in this location for 65 years.
Wow.
We've set up the garden so it's planted in different habitats, mostly cacti, cycling, trees and shrubs from all over the world. Uh, and it's an interesting. It's only about an acre, but it's an interesting little garden to walk through. It's fun, and being that it's a labor of love and a family affair, it's has a lot of positive energy.
If I can feel it, just when you're here, it
great
feels
place
it.
to be, yeah. And I'll take a little credit for that.
You should. I'm sure you put a lot of work in.
But we welcome, people from all over, and even in this time of this pandemic, why we require everybody wear a mask and practice social distancing. And tell you a little bit history of the garden. This actually, my father came to Palm Springs in 1937 and actually set up a garden and a shop right downtown. We were there for 18 years. We acquired this property in 1955. We've been here 65 years. When we came in here, there was a couple of native trees, 8 palm trees in the house.
Goodness.
So this was my parents' vision to create a garden that people could just come and enjoy. So that's how we're here. And would you like to walk through the garden a bit?
We'd love that. Yes, thank you.
Let's go this way.
It's like a cactus wonderland.
All right, as we start down the pathway, this whole area is Baja California, and we have like the crested myrtillo cactus. Pretty interesting here. It actually grows pretty much just like this, but then it fans out. It's a phenomenon that happens in plants, a lot in cactus, but also other plants. No known botanical reason why. The apex or growth point for some reason elongates and fans out, so like a hand. Really interesting phenomenon, quite artistic.
That is. I've never seen anything like it.
Like I've always said, nature is a great artist. Great artist. And then on beyond it a little bit, one of my favorite plants, this is from Baja California. It's called the bujum tree.
Oh, goodness.
Bujum tree is actually in the same family as an ocotillo, which pretty much everyone knows that's a native plant. And these actually should grow to 50 feet tall. This one is about 50 years old. And then we have a number of ocotillos. This is one from Baja that blooms with white flowers. It's not in the blooming stage right now.
How did your family collect all of the
Well,
specimens?
the interesting thing, when my father started raising cacti, he was actually out on the desert east of here. And that's another interesting story I'll tell you later. But he started collecting little seedlings and even seeds and started raising cactus from seed. And then through the years, as he got to Palm Springs and expanded his business, why we dealt with other nurseries. And also we went on collecting trips.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Went through Mexico, and everything was by permit. We've always done that. You have to get permission to collect plants from another country or even other states. But and most all the plants, even the plants you buy today at the nursery, are propagated. They're not wild collected.
Sure.
And so that's where at the time, there was a few growers, and we had some plants started very small. Even some plants in this garden were started from seed.
Oh, goodness.
And so that's how that all came about.
Well, it makes for a very unique collection.
Yeah. Then we get over here. This is one of my favorite plants. This tree, big, massive tree. It is an elephant tree, which is given because it has this massive stump and trunk. But it's native of Baja California. It's like a frankincense. It's got a very unique fragrance to the foliage. But this particular one, I've been told, it's probably 4 or 5 times bigger than you'll ever see it in habitat.
Wow.
When we planted this 60 years ago, it was in a 5-gallon can with a trunk that was maybe 3 inches in diameter.
Oh my goodness.
And only about 4 foot tall. So it's very happy here.
Yeah, it grew fast.
Yeah. Okay, let's go this way a little bit.
It's always nice to see a tree in the desert. We don't have enough of them.
That's true.
Ooh, it's strong.
It is strong, yeah. But it's a nice fragrance.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a baby from that one.
Oh, okay.
A little seed dropped in here and started years ago, and years ago I was going to dig it out, but that's manana. Another interesting plant from Baja is called the wax plant, sometimes called lady slipper, and it's an interesting little flower that looks like a lady slipper.
It's beautiful.
Great plant. Yeah, they're very popular in landscaping. Yeah.
It does look like candles,
Yeah.
like wax candles.
This is we'll see some more down here. It's Oregon pipe cactus. Another ocotillo from western Mexico. This one's Focoria McDougallii. Has a really interesting flower up here.
Oh, how pretty.
Flower, instead of a little cluster, that it's like an exploding flower.
It almost looks like the firecracker plants
Yeah.
that you see.
Yeah. There's another Oregon pipe cactus. Very happy.
Yes, it looks like it's thriving.
Yeah, and then it's got all this new growth coming on it.
He's a very happy cactus.
It survived the summer well, even thrived. I was the one that struggles.
Do you do anything special for the cacti during the summer?
Just keep them watered. Talk nicely to them.
That helps.
It does, oh yeah. You know, it's an interesting thing. Plants respond to people, and they respond to a certain environment. Those studies have been shown that with checking the electromagnetic field, that some people can walk in a greenhouse, and some plants will scream, and other people can walk in there and they'll smile.
Interesting.
Really true. There's actually a book I read years ago called The Secret Life of Plants, which actually I'm sorry I ever read it.
Oh no.
Because it said, when you get to throw away a plant, it's like saying, no, please don't do that.
Oh.
So after that, every time I do it, I'm cutting a cactus. I think, oh man, don't
That's
say
tragic.
that. More interesting agave. This is a baby saguaro. When I say a baby, it's a young saguaro. Because we have at the counter for sale baby ones that are only this big around in this town.
Oh. I love the agaves. They're so beautiful the way they
Agaves are really
sit like that.
interesting. You'll see a lot more as we walk around here. There are about 125 different kinds of agaves.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Actually more, because they've hybridized them now. So there's some that aren't really two species. Walk back this way. Another little baby I planted. It was from the big one up there.
Oh, the same elephant tree?
Yeah, and I took it out of the ground, threw it over behind this rock. But I was going to plant it later. Another one of those.
Sure.
Forgot about it. And then my mother at the time was walking through here and she saw it. She said, oh, there's a dead tree down there. I said, oh no, so I planted it. And it looked like a dead tree for about 6 months. And one day I walked by it, little green leaves on it.
Aww.
I was so happy. Now it's like overwhelming.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I got to trim it up a bit. But that's
I always say that's future Rebecca's problem.
this is a real interesting plant. This is jojoba.
So say it again?
Jojoba? This is
Jojoba.
a jojoba plant. They use it in hair care products, cosmetics.
Really?
And it's actually a desert tree. It's a desert shrub that grows here in the Mojave Desert. And it's interesting. This is a boy tree.
How can you
This is a
tell?
little girl tree over here. Well, you can tell sort of by the flower. And then this one is well, they're all cleaned off now. But this one's the only one that will get seeds. That's the female. This is the male.
Interesting.
Yeah. So a little more of the interesting things to go over.
I love prickly pears. They're so unique.
Yeah. There's a number of these. See, we have a number of agaves here.
Oh, those are huge.
Yeah. This is actually a new tree I just put in a couple years ago. When we came onto the property, there was a huge Palo Verde here. And it had probably been, well, it had been here for decades. And it had been struggling, so we kept doctoring it and watering it. But a couple years ago, it finally decided it went to tree heaven.
Sure.
So it was huge. It was just big around, big pulp. So we dug it out. I got this new tree to put in here. And it was only about half this tall a year ago. It's really happy here. So hopefully we'll get another big, beautiful tree.
And Palo Verdes are one of the only ones that have green bark, right?
Right. Well, that's what that means. Palo Verde means green
Sure.
wood or green sticks.
Green sticks.
A lot of, like I say, different agaves here. You know, this is agave horda, it's called. It's pretty wicked.
Yeah, that looks very dangerous.
Mediana. It's got a beautiful, you know, artistic shape. I love the colors and textures.
Yeah, they're very
One of the great
different.
thing about cacti, there's so many shapes and colors and textures. You know, it's really nature's artwork.
Sure.
And we'll go around here. It's a little thing we put in there. All these species of rock here all petrified iron.
Is it from here in the valley?
No, this came from Mexico.
Okay.
But actually, I have found pieces of ironwood in Southern California, between here and, you know, and the Arizona border. There's places that, you know, just out exploring, I picked up a little piece and it turned out to be ironwood, which means, you know, that's its native area it grows. So it's been there for, you know, millions of years.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's a different little garden. There's a cactus right there that's getting ready to bloom. Very happy.
Oh, the little
Look at all the
things
little
popping
buds
up.
on the end of it there. Yeah. Yep, nice.
Do all cacti bloom at different
Yes.
times?
Mm-hmm. Well, although most of them are different genera, the thing is that if they all bloomed at the same time, you'd have a lot of hybrids.
Sure, that would make sense.
Because cactus, when they exchange pollen, they're kind of immoral. You know, little promiscuous plants.
Promiscuous plants.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, well, it's all those birds. Those birds
Sure.
mess up everything. And this is actually an ironwood tree.
Wow.
This is it's native to Southern California and in northern Mexico. Really a great tree.
It's beautiful.
Yep. And this is a little garden.
Oh, I love these little guys.
Yeah. We call this a lava flow.
Okay.
Most of these plants are all from Mexico. There's the agave Victoria regina, sometimes called an artichoke agave.
It does look like an artichoke.
Yeah, and mammillarias.
Okay, I can see that too.
Yeah, there's about 300 species of them. There's a lot of them. And barrels and the more agaves.
Sure.
This is a beautiful agave. It's actually a hybrid called Ruglo. Yeah, this is very impressive. See these plants here growing. This is it. A lot of the lava flows of Mexico will have cactus growing in amongst the lava.
It really is pretty, the green against the red and the different
Right.
textures. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Another great plant called the totem pole.
Sure.
Totem pole is a monstrous form of a cactus from Baja California called Lophoceras shadii. It actually, well, it looks more like this in its regular form, except it has a lot of spines on it. And then it gets this form where it gets that monstrous, crazy look. That's why we call it, looks like a totem pole. Looks like it's been carved.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Unique plant. It never blooms.
Really?
So you only propagate it by cuttings.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. More agave.
They're enormous. How old are these?
Well, these are probably about 30, 35 years.
That's all. Wow.
But a little explanation. Agaves are sometimes called century plants
Sure.
because they say they like live for 100 years and then they die. Well, they don't live that long, but they do live decades. And they're a type of plant that grows to a huge size with maturity and then starts sending up a flower stalk right out of the center.
Yeah.
And all the energy in that plant pushes that flower stalk. Some can grow 30 feet tall. And in the first week or two, they can grow 2 or 3 foot a day.
Wow.
They really take off. And but then after they bloom, it's dragged all the energy out of that plant, so then it dies.
Oh.
But they generally put on babies and pups around the bottom, so you always have more. And even when they bloom, sometimes on the flower stalk they'll start growing little plants, or they'll have flowers that are pollinated and they form seed pods.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And all the blue agaves can all be used for tequila.
Sure.
Actually, the big green one right there is one they make mezcal from.
Oh, okay.
And they make a drink in Mexico that they take the heart out of that plant and let all that juice go into that cavity and naturally ferment. It's called pulque. And it's a naturally fermented alcoholic drink that looks awful and tastes even worse. But about the second or third drink, it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, I'll bet. Everything will taste good after that.
Yeah.
That one's so funny, bro.
Yeah, that's an interesting flow.
Agave Americana, yeah. Some grow like this and some, well, I had another one growing like that, but anyhow. This one, there's variation in color and such.
Yeah, the yellow's gorgeous.
But the yellow is really, really attractive. Yeah. And this is a fan favorite. People love this, and I call it the greenhouse of 10,000 selfies.
Oh, okay.
And people come from all over, even Facebook. Oh, you got to see this place. And so, actually, social media has really increased our popularity tenfold.
I'm sure.
It really has. I'm not a technology person. I was born in the wrong, wrong time for that. But anyhow, people like this. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think folks are finally really taking the time to recognize the beauty of cacti.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go first.
It's cool in here.
Oh, it's stunning.
We cool it down, but it's we call it the cactarium. The term my mother taught in 1940.
That's a very clever term.
Yeah, it's like a terrarium for cacti. And not to mention the old man in Mexico. And actually, actually, in their habitat, they can grow to 30 feet tall.
Really?
Yeah.
He looks like Cousin It.
Yeah. And these, we've grown them from seed. The seed is really hard to come by because most of the seed for that comes out of Mexico, and the Mexican government won't allow the export.
Sure.
Most exotic plant we have in here is this one. This is from the deserts of Namibia. It's called a welwitschia. Welwitchias are a really interesting plant. There's some actually in Namibia that are probably 2,500 years old.
Really?
And it only forms 2 leaves, but as it grows and gets bigger, the leaf splits, but it's still only 2 leaves. They're a conifer. They're related to a pine tree or a cycad.
Really?
And they take they're really a durable plant. Kind of unusual. You can see we have dead at the end of the leaves, but you leave that there because the root system is only as long as the green part of the leaf.
Okay.
If you cut that all off, then it upsets the balance. And then
Sure.
but anyways, it's a great display of the oddities of the cactus world.
Do you have any favorites in this cactarium?
That one.
That one?
And a few. This one is going out the bottom of the pot.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Well, that was an experiment I tried at work.
Yeah.
Because an acquaintance of mine was in Europe and he went to Kew Gardens and he said they had cactus growing out the bottom of a pot. Okay, I think I can do that. So I figured out how to do that and I turned this up. Well, later on when he visited me and he saw what I did, he said, no, I meant that it was growing up, but out of the drainage holes, there was,
Oh, curving around.
pups that come out. Oh, okay, well this works.
That's really unique.
Yeah.
And I like how the other plant is climbing it.
Yeah, that is a succulent from Africa called a phokia. I always say, give that plant to someone you don't like. Say, here's a phokia. And it grows in the vine. It has that big caudex, that big swollen base. Another interesting plant called the monkey tail.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any flowers now, but it gets a kind of a long, narrow flower that's orange, sort of pinkish orange. Really interesting plant.
I love how the names of a lot of these really do look like what you're growing.
The actual name of that is Hilda aureus venus.
Oh goodness.
Monkey tail.
Monkey tail works for you. Yeah.
Easier to spell. Yeah. So a lot of neat stuff here. This is a plant from Madagascar. Didiera madagascarensis it's called. And long, wicked spines. But the lemurs can even climb that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Another one of those plants that crest. And this is actually like the big one we showed when we first started coming down here, but this is a dwarf crest, which is quite unusual, quite nice. There's an ocotillo from southern Mexico. It's actually on the international endangered species list. But this one is neat. It's called Foquaria percussa. And it actually can grow quite tall. This one started from seed. Very pleased that it's getting happy. One of these days it'll be out there.
It's got a really neat trunk. Very tree-like.
Yeah, it's what they call, like, you notice a number of these have a swollen trunk or base. Like this one. We call this is Moorten. But
she has a name.
but they have those what's called a caudex or a caudiciform. That's where the succulent tissue is. And there's quite a number of them in here.
Oh, these are gorgeous. These little guys with the patterns on them.
Yeah, that's a little aloe. Yeah, that's aloe that multiplies profusely. Don't back up too much.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting plant from Baja California. This is a fruit after it flowers. And it looks pretty cool, but it's kind of hard to get in there because all these little spines are fish hooked.
Oh no.
If you get in there and that thing hooks onto you, it doesn't want to let go. See?
How many cactus-based injuries do you have?
Oh, doesn't even faze me anymore. I've always said to love cacti, you have to love pain.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll let you around.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much all there is to see in here. Just a whole bunch of really neat plants. This will go back this way. Let me just sneak right by you. I won't back you up on any plant.
Hi. That is really neat. Do you know of any others like that, or is yours?
Oh well, you know, it's a greenhouse, but it's a display greenhouse. I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, it's all major botanical gardens that we have. They're what they call it. I can't think of the name, but it's
Sure.
this one has quite a history. All right, we come up. There's what we call the Palm Grove Oasis.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
This is stunning. When can I move in?
Well, we've been here for 65 years, and you know that's where we live. And we use this area for weddings and receptions and such. We've probably had over 1,200 weddings here
Really?
over the years. Yeah, starting in 1959, and so this house was built in 1929. And you can see the imprint of the forms on it. It's all poured concrete, and quite a unique historic house. Adds a lot to the atmosphere of the whole garden.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You live here?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Which is really great. Makes the hours long, but it makes the commute really easy.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. There's more stuff and things here.
I like your little T-Rex.
Yeah. Yeah, we got this one, got one there. A lot of minerals and such. Aloe, this is aloe vera. It's coming up on the area we call the African garden.
Oh, these are very cool.
Yeah, these are aloes. This is an aloe. Another one over there is an aloe. This one, ooh, it's getting ready to bloom. This is a really interesting aloe. Another one from Namibia called the aloe dichotomum. They get up to 15 feet tall.
Really?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
It's
That
very
color's
nice, yeah.
perfect.
It's another aloe. Oh. Aloe Van Bellini, really like it. Aloe Ferox. Aloe, I don't know what it is. But this one is always interesting. It always blooms at Halloween.
Really?
Yeah, this thing on, about 2 weeks before Halloween, the flower stalk starts coming out. It's pretty good. A lot of them bloom in the springtime. This one blooms then.
He's a spooky cactus.
Yeah. Okay, let's go over here. Most of this is South American plant. Although this kind of sneaked over there. This is an interesting plant. See the flower?
It's a pretty
It's a
flower.
star-shaped flower. And you see them here too. And you notice there's flies on the flowers.
Sure.
the reason for that is the fly walks through there. There's a microscopic hair on his leg that trips a little thing that's a pollinia. And the pollinia pollinates the flower. So instead of a bee or a bird, boy, the flies pollinate it.
That's unique. I love it.
More nature.
They look like starfish.
Yeah. Little plants, little spreading around. It's a great little flower.
Oh, it's so tiny.
Some more African plants.
I love this Madagascar palm.
Madagascar palm and big calancho. So there's an interesting feature we have. This is part of the wall of the first Palm Springs hotel.
Really?
Well, the first hotel that was actually built to be a hotel. And it was right downtown, and in 1959 when they first, when they tore it down, we salvaged a bunch of it, put it back up here so that we could save some of the history of Palm Springs.
That's really neat.
Great little vine from Mexico called the coral vine. Pretty beautiful flowers.
Yeah, those are gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, and we usually about 3 times a year we cut it all the way down, and it just grows like a vine.
Pops right back up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, another tortoise in there. That's Buster. Buster's in his burrow.
Hi, Buster.
Yeah. And some of these plants in this area are for sale.
Do you grow the plants that you sell?
Not all of them. I don't have time for that. It used
Sure.
to be that way. And this is where I just grow some stuff. With some of my
Oh
collection.
yeah, just some stuff.
Yeah,
There's
well,
a huge amount of plants in there.
Yeah, well, gives me something to do.
I can imagine.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Fun growing plants.
Are there any plants that you just can't grow?
Well,
That you have a brown thumb for?
no, I'm pretty good. Sometimes, I always say I have an injured thumb, but once it heals, I'll figure it out.
Oh, okay.
You
So it's
know,
a puzzle to
because-
be solved.
Because there's plants that, for years I had trouble growing, and then figured out how to do it. And I thought, well, what did I do different? I don't know, maybe attitude, I don't know what.
Didn't talk sweet enough.
Yeah. In here, there's three little tortoise bluebottom.
Oh, hi, buddies.
They're probably about 4.5, 5 years old. And then there's Hank.
Oh my word.
He's in Africa.
He is appropriately named.
Yeah.
What a big guy.
This is sort of interesting. This is some of the old mine relics. And this was part of my dad's World War mine.
Huh.
And that all ties in with this. My father was actually born and raised in the woods of Washington. He, both my grandparents had passed away by the time he was 15. So he lived a short time with an aunt and then some friends. They said he's such a character, he was like 19 years old or so. They said, you ought to go to Hollywood and get in the movies. So I think it was 1924, he hitchhiked to Hollywood, and he
Really?
got in the movies.
Huh.
He became a stuntman, but he got into the movies as one of the Keystone Cops in the old silent films. And so he worked around Hollywood as an actor and a technician, different things. He got onto a couple movies because he knew how to set dynamite and make it look like a bomb.
Oh my word.
But anyways, so 1931, he found out he had tuberculosis. He was working on a Howard Hughes film, and So he you know, the doctors found out he had tuberculosis, so they actually wanted him to go to a sanitarium. He said no. You know, he wanted to go to the desert. He said, well, you know, you'll die in a year or two. So he came to the desert, and he settled at what is now Cottonwood Springs, which is Joshua Tree National Park. If you ever visit Cottonwood, down the canyon a quarter mile, it's called the Moorten Mill site. That was my dad's old ore mill.
Really?
That's where his first little greenhouse, last house was to grow plants.
How
Because he
neat.
started collecting desert plants off his mining claims. He said it turned out cactus paid better than gold did.
Okay.
And then in 1938, decided to move his operation here. And we've been in the cactus business ever since.
Well, you found a good niche. You guys are good at it.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, and then we come over here, and this is where we have pottery and interesting plants. Other little items to say.
That's great, so we can go home and attempt to recreate some of your beautiful plants.
When you start planting in 65 years, this is what you have.
Well, this is amazing. Thank you so much for the tour.
Oh yeah, well,
This is a Palm Springs gem for sure.
it's a pretty interesting place. Yeah, you know, I've been here all my life, and it still amazes me sometimes. Look at that. That's pretty interesting.
That's a good way to live your
Yeah.
life. Loving what you do and getting to
Yeah.
live where you love.
Like I said, you know, during the pandemic, we kind of limited where you can go and what you can do. And I'm a real social person, so, you know, being isolated is kind of hard, but not a bad place to hang out.
Yeah, no, if you're going to be isolated,
Get out
this
here
is a
in the
gorgeous
morning
place
with
to
a
do it.
hot cup of coffee and listen to the birds sing. And it was pretty nice, except summer was getting hot.
And then what are your hours if folks want to come and visit
We
you?
are open 10 to 4 every day, closed on Wednesday.
Okay.
And it's $5 for adults and seniors, $2 for kids.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Clark. We really appreciate the tour.
You're very
This was
welcome.
fantastic. Everybody, please come and visit Moorten's. We are just right here. This is Palm Canyon, right?
South 1701 South Palm Canyon Drive.
1701 South Palm Canyon Drive. It is a lovely way to spend an hour or two checking out all these really unique plants. And it's family-owned business, so if you're going to support local Palm Springs, this is a really good place to do it. So, fantastic tour. Thank you so much, Clark. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you again on Monday.